Today we're going to be going over a few of the strongest affordable fragrances that you can purchase here in 2023. And like I always say, I always want to make this clear, we're talking discounter prices. You guys know this by now, I'm sure, but if you're new out there and you're looking at retail prices and trying to figure out why the prices are not matching up, that's why. We're not talking retail, we're talking after things have had some time to sit and work their way into discounters. And so generally what will happen is new fragrance releases won't be cheap. You know, a lot of brands like Calvin Klein and Hugo Boss and some others like that will be cheap eventually, but not immediately. So sometimes it might take a good few years for a price of something to work its way down enough to be in a video like this. So generally, videos like this won't be packed full of, you know, newer releases usually. Although I will say it does seem like lately some new releases have been hitting discounters pretty quickly and for very fair prices as well. So maybe that's starting to change and it's starting to happen sooner. It could very well be that some of these bigger designer brands are kind of maybe selling directly to discounters now and they're able to move them quickly because they're just getting that lower buy-in rate right away. Who really knows? But I digress. We're going over some affordable scents that do have great performance. First up, we have Hugo Boss Reversed. It's one of my favorite scents here in this price range and this style of scent, which is something that is bright, fresh, clean, citrusy. It's got grapefruit, vetiver, rosemary, some ambroxan in here. To me, it smells uplifting, clean, fresh, easygoing, crisp, bright, fantastic for the warmer times of the year. Maybe a little bit out of season right now, but it's one you can pick up and wear when it's warm outside. It works great. This is a 4.2 ounce bottle here, 125 ml, of course. Usually is around $35. So very affordable. You're getting a little bit more volume than average. You know, a lot of things are 100 mils and things like that. So a little bit extra for a great price and the performance to back it up. This is impressive. I would say out of the whole Hugo Boss scent line that look like this, you know, these canteen style bottles, this is one of the best ones. To me, it's the most unique. It's one of the best performers. It was one of the best in terms of quality as well. I really like this one. It's easy to hate on, and it probably gets hate just because it got a little bit of hype and people started talking about it, but I think it's one of the better ones there, and it's one you can't go wrong with. It's so easy to pull off. Next up, we have Lacoste Match Point Eau de Parfum. This one's got citruses, pepper, and vetiver in here. One little funny thing I like to point out, because I can't unsee it, so I don't want you to be able to unsee it either. That sticker is crooked by a pretty significant margin. It's kicked to this way too much. I don't know if that's left or right for you. It's to my left, but yeah, you can kind of see where it doesn't line up over here. Once you see that, you cannot get that out of your brain. And it just, yeah, it bothers me. So this must have been made on a Friday or a Monday, I guess. I don't know, but this is really good. I like it. I like the original Match Point as well. And there's another one that came out, like a fresher cologne version. It might have been Match Point Cologne. I can't remember. I don't have it, though. I didn't end up buying it just because I didn't think it was something people were going to be overly interested in because the original Match Point and the EDP hasn't really garnered a ton of attention when I've done videos on them standalone on the channel, and so it kind of changes things up a bit. However, I do like to work this one into lists when I can because it does come in at a great price, same with the original, but in this instance here, this Eau de Parfum does perform better than the EDT. It's a green scent, no surprise. It's musky, very fresh, has a little bit of a soapiness to it as well. It's another one that is so easy to wear. It takes no effort, no thought process. You just spray it on, you leave the house, and you're good to go for whatever. Performance is impressive for the price. Next up, we have Blanc Legend Eau de Parfum. So another EDP flanker. This one here has bergamot, oak moss, and violet leaves. You know, everybody knows Blanc Legend at this point, so you're kind of familiar with this stuff. In today's day and age, I wouldn't recommend you to buy Legend EDT. I think there are better options out there, like this Eau de Parfum. Legend Night is really good. Legend Spirit is really good. Now, granted, those do go in a different direction than the original, of course, but we're to the point where there are just so many better options, like Legend EDT, to me anyway, is kind of obsolete. If you're someone who is partial to that smell and you like it, then just go for the EDP and call it a day. And of course, for those who are unaware, Blanc Legend, the EDT, this EDP kind of gets lumped into a similar category of something like Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, which to this day is still very expensive, and it's kind of bizarre when you think about it. The reason why I say that is pretty much every other Abercrombie & Fitch scent, from First Instinct Extreme, the other couple flankers, Together, Blue, whatever, all of the First Instincts, Abercrombie & Fitch Authentic, and its flankers as well, and a few other men's scents, they're all like borderline dirt cheap. First Instinct EDT you can usually get for 20 bucks. The extreme version has come back down to around 30. And again, some of the flankers of some of the others that I mentioned are all usually under $40. A lot of them in the 20s to 30s. Fierce, however, is still like $80 on discounters, 80, 90, 100 bucks. It is the weirdest thing. I don't get it. And so if you're on a budget and you don't want to spend that type of money, then you can go for something like this for about $30, $35 maybe, the EDP, and you get something that does have great performance and gets you into that similar style just at a fraction of the cost. Can't go wrong with this. It's another thing that is a big people pleaser. It is generic, okay? This has been worn to death, this DNA. And so in terms of smelling unique, not going to happen, no chance. But if you like how it smells, which is the most important thing, go for it. The performance out of this EDP is great for the price. Next up, we have Al Haramain Detour Noir. It's a PDM Layton clone. So Layton itself, at least for me, gets good performance, or I get good performance from it rather. And, it's one of those deals where you would kind of maybe think to yourself, well, I would hope so. If you're spending north of $200 on something like that, it better perform good. And in theory, that's great, but the reality of it is that's not how it works all the time. And for the record, a lot of people claim to not get very good performance out of Layton and some of the other PDMs. It's on a case-to-case basis. You never know. And so the same goes with every other niche and designer and indie brand ever. Just because you're paying more doesn't mean you're obligated to get better performance out of it. That's something you need to understand and accept early on in your collecting hobby. Otherwise, you're in for a rude awakening. There are so many fragrances that I've spent a lot of money on that just perform okay, and a lot of these cheaper ones here may perform better than those. And so it's something you have to make sure you keep in mind. That being said, this Layton clone here is usually in the mid $30 range, somewhere around in there. Maybe sometimes, let's just go with mid $30 range. It's kind of been all around over the place, but very affordable, a fraction of the cost of Layton itself. And this is beautiful. You really get that vanilla in here a lot with the apple, a little bit of a cinnamon accord as well, some tonka bean. God, that smells so good. I love how this smells. I'm a big fan of Layton. It smells amazing, and this one really does a great job of representing that smell just at a much more affordable cost. It makes it a lot easier for a lot of other folks to get into. This stuff is perfect for this time of year. Fall, winter, couldn't choose a better time of year for this DNA. I love it. And especially fall, really, the apple kind of combo here going on, the fruitiness, the sweetness, works great. But I wear it heavily in wintertime as well. And so, if you're someone who doesn't want to spend all that money on Layton, go for this. Another thing I will say, obviously, I do have Layton. There are also times, though, where I do wear this, or some of my other Layton clones like Amber Oud Exclusive Blue, and there's even Lalique White and Black. Okay, there are times where I wear a clone instead of my real bottle. I've talked about this before, but for me, I'm still stingy. If I'm not going to, well, let's put it this way. Sometimes I want to wear something kind of in the middle of the day, and I know I'm going to shower in the evening. If that's the case, I'm going to be not gravitating towards something expensive like Layton or any other niche product, because I'm washing it off prematurely, at least in my head. That's how my mind works. If I'm going to wear something expensive, I throw it on earlier on in the day and ride it through, and I feel like I get my money's worth out of it. It's ridiculous given I'm never going to work through this stuff anyway, but I still just have that same mindset of when I was first starting out collecting. I wanted to just not be reckless and waste my stuff. And so in instances like that, I wear a cologne. It is the best thing. It takes so much stress. If you're someone who is in the same boat that I am, it takes that worry out of it. You feel like wearing Leighton, but you're going to wash it off in a few hours. Wear the cologne for 30 bucks. You're set. I love that. It brings huge peace of mind for me. Rus Lom is up next. This guy you can get as low as 29 bucks for I think it's a 125. Nope, it's a 100. I always mix that up. 29 bucks, 100 ml tester with a cap. You're kind of looking at the mid 30s for standard full presentation. If you're asking me, if you can get a tester with cap, it's always the way to go. You can save about $6 here in this case, maybe $7. To me, that just makes sense. And this one's got a lot of blood orange in here. Good amount of aromatics. I don't know, it's different in the way that it's maybe not what you're expecting. You see the blue bottle, you might think blue fragrance, but it's not. You know, blood orange, the pineapple, all of that going on kind of gives it a little bit of a fruity, sour kick, but then pretty quickly it amps up the aromatics and some of the even sweeter notes as well. So you kind of get a nice mixture. But ultimately, this one does give off a very impressionable smell. You know, it's something that people will kind of pick up on and just think, hey, that smells really pleasant. That smells really nice and unique. That's not something you always get. You know, a lot of times something that smells nice that people really like, they probably smelled it before. Not in the case here. This one's going to definitely help you stand out. It's got great performance as well, great quality. This is one of those instances, and to be fair, a lot of these where they kind of smell a little bit more expensive than they actually are, assuming you're shopping in discounters. So that's another big bonus as well. And this next one is the epitome of smelling significantly more expensive than it is. I mean, this has to be one of the best quality, cheap fragrances ever created. Bentley For Men Intense. You know, this one here is consistently $35, $36, 100 ml. Testers, I think, do come up every now and then. And I believe they come with a cap, although you'll want to double check that for yourself. I can't remember. But yeah, Bentley For Men Intense. You know, I'm assuming this goes for 80, 100 bucks at retail, something like that. And it smells like it. To me, this smells like an $80 at discounter scent. You know, there are a lot of designers and stuff that are going for around that $70, $80 price point that are, in my opinion, comparable to the quality of this. It is remarkable. This one's got a lot of rum, a lot of incense, leather. It's smoky, it's mature, it's a little bit more old school, and I'll go ahead and be the one to say this. You know, you hear the comments, smells like a church, smells like my grandpa, things like that. It's very important to keep in mind that this is not for everybody, and if you're on the fence and you're someone who normally doesn't go for things like this, then just stay away from it and save yourself the headache. And generally what I think happens is people are kind of in the beginning stages where they're focusing a lot on the freshies and the aquatics and the blue scents, and then they get excited when they hear about something like this that is really good, and they just kind of buy it without thinking, and then they get upset at me because they don't like it. It is important, it is imperative to do your research and think things through. Luckily, you're not taking out a mortgage to buy this set. It's 30 bucks. If you don't like it, just throw it away if you're that mad. But I think for those of you who know what you're looking for and you're wanting something unique, Bentley For Men Intense is one of the best on the market. And we're going to finish the video off with Cerruti 1881 Signature. To me, the best way I can describe this one, just kind of leveraging some other scents that you've heard of, or at least one anyway, is it's kind of a leathery Lanuit de L'Homme. You know, say that with me a couple times. Try to say that without messing it up. A leathery Lanuit de L'Homme, okay? So you get a peppery spiciness from just kind of the pepper in here, of course, and lavender. And it kind of just gives off that Lanuit de L'Homme kind of feel, the slight warm spiciness. But this has a super unique and impressive, realistic leather accord in here. When you take a look at things like ombre leather and stuff, yeah, the leather is there. It's, of course, very prominent. I love ombre leather. But this is more on the line a little bit of like a Tuscan leather, where it's a true earthy, heavy leather accord. It's spicy and gritty. Not quite to the level of Tuscan leather, just to kind of make that aware. But it's more leaning that direction. Like this is a no joke, like straight up leather accord that isn't for the faint of heart. And I love that. This is another mid $30 range scent, $35, $36, 100 milliliters. It is an eau de parfum, has great performance, and it is something unique. This is it. If you're on a budget and you want unique, you got to go for this stuff. Great performance, like I had already mentioned. Something a little bit familiar, at least maybe it's just me. I just get a little bit of that La Nuit de l'Homme feel. Definitely not a clone of La Nuit de l'Homme and not overly similar, just has a little bit of that with a lot of leather over top. This is great stuff that's criminally underrated. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some fantastic affordable scents that do have great performance, and they're some of the best you can buy this year. Again, none of these came out this year. However, you know, they've been out long enough to where they're affordable and they're still worth purchasing. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.